Hi everybody and welcome back to another Legends of Runeterra video. Lulu was revealed today and I've had a little bit more time to think about her rather than just my initial impressions, and I've warmed up a little bit to Lulu. The main reason for this is because I originally thought that Lulu, in order to level up, she needed to see 3 supported units, grant support. 3 support units grant support in order to level up, and that's not the case. It just says that you need to have had 3 supported units, and so I guess what I infer from that is that she can come out leveled up, which inherently makes the champion a lot better. If you can level up a champion without having it down on the board, that just makes it better. The reason for that, you don't have to protect it with spells, you don't have to expend mana in order to just protect your units and make sure that they survive long enough to level up. That's a major issue with a lot of champions, and is definitely a way to inhibit the strength of a champion. So that automatically makes Lulu just a little bit better. Now, the archetype of support and Lulu in general, I do not know that I'm completely on board with yet, mostly because I don't think the archetype knows where it is supposed to be. It seems kind of confused. So in Ionia, they're releasing like spells that kind of control the game, slow it down. It also has Tasty Faefolk, which is a lifesteal, so it's more like a control card. So is like the deck supposed to be more control? Is it supposed to be mid-range? Is it? I don't really think that it's aggro, but it does have some early game cards. So I just think it's kind of confused, especially the Ionia region. Targon may not be as much, but Ionia in general just seems a little bit confused to me. So that's where I am kind of on that. A little bit warmer on Lulu now, so there's that. Now, because of this new card reveals and Lulu as a champion and Tarek as well, I have been kind of theory crafting some potential decks that these cards could land in, and today I'm thinking about Lulu. So in the past little while, the deck that kind of I thought would be original and maybe a lot of people aren't going to be thinking about is an Allegiance deck. Alright, so in case you don't know, the Kinku Wavefinder will summon you 2 1-cost units if you have your Allegiance proc. So why is this important with the Lulu deck? We just barely had 2 more 1-cost units revealed to us, and those 2 1-cost units are the Flower Child and Pix. And Pix is a support unit. The reason why this works so well with Lulu, you need to level Lulu up by having supported units. Now you can play Lulu on round 3, and then the Kinku Wayfinder on round 4. It's just a really excellent curve, and you can, once you play the Kinku Wayfinder, you're more than likely going to pull out Pix, and there's a chance that you have supported other allies during the course of the game up until round 4 if you're including a lot of them in your deck. So we play Kinku Wayfinder round 4, get the Pixes down, we have Lulu down also, and we can level her up automatically on our attack phase. Easy way to level up Lulu. That is a little bit idealistic, and I mean the stars do kind of have to align, and so what you want to do is mulligan pretty aggressively for both Kinku Wayfinder and Lulu in your starting hand and just kind of wait until then. It is also possible now, because we have something like Tasty Faefolk, we are able to mitigate a lot of damage if we are preserving our mana in order to play those cards. So just something to think about. Anyway, the curve just seems pretty good. In theory, I think this deck could work pretty well. And then once we have level up Lulu, she is producing the Help Pix, which can be used each round as a barrier, and it can be used as a as vulnerable. So another thing that you need to be a little bit cautious about with Help Pix, even though it produces a barrier, you cannot use it as a reaction spell. And so if the enemy opened attacks, you're not going to be able to use that barrier card to protect a unit, which definitely inhibits its usefulness and also will potentially play into how the enemy attacks into you if they want to prevent you from using the barrier. If they decide to develop, you have the opportunity to use barrier on your units and just mitigate a lot of damage. So just keep that in mind. Now with Kinku Wayfinder, so we're going to be including the 3 Kinku Wayfinder, 3 Pix, and more than likely 3 Flower Child. That may be a little bit up for debate and kind of testing, but that is a potential use for the card. We are also we have some options for the champions we can use. We can use Shen or Lee Sin. I'm kind of leaning more towards Lee Sin at this moment, but Shen could potentially, depending on how the meta is, work as well, because you are producing the barrier cards each round. It would be pretty easy to level up Shen. He's also a pretty big body that can block round 4, and he is kind of occupying the same place as a King Wayfinder. So just some positives and negative aspects of adding Shen. The reason why I'm kind of more inclined to use Lee Sin is because of the spells that Lulu is going to be producing. So it's going to be pretty easy to level up Lee Sin. You can also have other spells in your deck. Challenger is just an excellent sort of keyword to include with these support units and is an easy way to kind of clear board space. Lee Sin is maybe not the most efficient because he does get barrier, but what that allows you to do is kind of protect the spells in your hand by buffing up Lee Sin with the support units rather than using the barrier and spells in order to give him barrier. So just kind of a way to use him in a different way. Now we would probably, so Lee Sin we could say tentatively, I would also include Sonic Wave in this deck because again it produces Challenger and we can use this to challenge units with our buffed up ones and protect our smaller units and smaller support units that are only using their abilities on the attack phase and could be potentially very weak before they're buffed up by the support units. So just an easy way to kind of protect them on the attack phase and make sure they don't get blocked into and get multiple uses out of them. Alright, we would probably also include some deny, maybe 1 or 2 deny. Yusari is an interesting card that could fit into the deck as well because he's got Challenger. And then some of the other support units we would more than likely want to include into the deck. Herald the Spring could potentially fit in, and then we would just need some other spells to kind of mitigate damage and protect ourselves, and then also level up Lee Sin. So yeah, that's a quick look at the deck. I mean, I definitely see some potential in it. It definitely doesn't mean that it's going to be meta and top tier, but just kind of a deck that I think that a lot of people aren't thinking about. With this expansion, we are getting more cards, which will, I would argue, make every Allegiance card in the game a little bit stronger because it allows you to have more variability in the units that you play from each region. So just adding more cards is going to buff indirectly the Allegiance cards. Unless they are meant to be combo cards, like the support cards kind of are, but I think it works in this deck. So the cards that aren't receiving, or the regions that aren't receiving champions or a lot of cards of this expansion, the Allegiance cards from those decks are going to be a little bit less powerful than the ones that do have them. So I do think that Ionia is going to be a little bit stronger now because it was revealed. It was kind of, it's arguably the worst. I don't even know if it's worse. It's kind of the most confused region at the moment. And the extra cards are probably going to help with that and allow a little bit more diverse gameplay and deck building. So anyway, that's my thoughts about it. If you like this type of video, if you like theory crafting decks, go ahead and like this video. If you have a suggestion of or a card, a newly rebuilt card that you like to see put into a deck concept or a theory crafted around, go ahead and send me a comment. And we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.